building the business turns you into a different kind of human being.
Realize that failure is a part of the journey.
I think there's hope out there for all of us.
They say procrastination be the assassination of destinations. That's why we out here grinding with no association. With haters and them other crabs trying to put us down. Pest badges in the house, boy, don't clown. Just keep your eyes on the prize, ain't no giving up. You can do whatever you dream of. Just keep your eyes on the prize, ain't no giving up. You can do whatever.
Here with Mike Andes, it's different because I'm not in my studio. I'm in your studio.
Yeah.
But yeah, just you reached out to me a couple of months now.
Yeah.
Said, hey, I'd love to connect. You offered to come see me. And you're like, or you can come out here. I'm like, wait, I have people that live in Washington. Like, I want to check out HQ. So here I am at Augusta HQ. So again, I want to start up and say thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It was fun. Good to see your whole shop, your tour. We did good to meet the team. It was cool. But so just quickly say thank you. Man, we have 200 locations now. Do you know the exact number?
214. Yeah.
214. That's cool. 214 locations. Augusta Lawn Care. We're at HQ. Cost $54 million last year.
Yep. 2024. Yes.
2024.
Yeah. The numbers for last year are still coming out. So we'll figure out.
Dang, it came too early. So what is the ultimate goal?
Yeah, like the ultimate goal really is to change the level of professionalism in the industry.
Love it.
Like the whole reason we franchise is because I wanted to wear the same uniform as the people I was talking to.
Yeah. And
I knew it was like to build Augusta, and we got to like 700,000-800,000, but I was in daily operations all the time. I had no systems. I got in a workplace accident and realized like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
And so I turned around my own business. So like we do the turnaround show, but like the first turnaround was me. And in those couple of years, being able to get the business to where it was really profitable and it could run without me. And it had systems in place. And I was like, I'm gonna make YouTube videos and people are gonna learn about it. And it's gonna be great. And like no one listened. I think I had like 2,000 subscribers.
Great, that's where I'm at.
After like 2 or 3 years though, being serious, trying to like help people, and no one's listening. And so I'm like, look, there's no way to get like change people's businesses unless A, I'm competing with them, or B, they're wearing my uniform. And so by us getting to 1,000 locations at Augusta, we can compete with most of our competition, most of the landscapers specifically. And then when I say something, the owners know I have their best intent at heart, and I just want them to win. And so the adherence to the systems is so much better. Yeah. Whether it be pay for performance or anything we're doing.
So we're at 200, going to 1,000. What's the time frame between there?
Yeah, so I anticipate we'll probably go public in 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in probably 8 to 12 years. I'm trying to go for 6, but we'll see. 8 to 12 is what we've said. And so go public, but with the software and the media all combined. So we kind of have like a 3-legged stool. It's like got media, acquisition, then we have the franchise, Augusta, and that's really the cash engine. And then the software side, Homeworks, is the really the valuation.
Right.
So those 3 things together is what we think can have something special down the road and really allow us to be able to have a good foothold for robotics. So when robotics come along, I just want to be the number one in that market to be able to really scale that.
Yeah.
And so by having Command Center, having the software, having the distribution of all the locations, I think we could scale the robotic side really well.
When do you see robotics come out?
10 plus years.
Yeah. We've been saying that for 10 plus years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like the technology is there right now. But like we have legislation, we're on line of sight still that is problematic. But there's several startups that are doing a great job of this. But they can't scale because they're having software engineers in their command center to operate them. But another kind of like intermediary between even full autonomy is having the robot being operated by video. And this can be done already. And I controlled with keyboard on the other side of the city, like a mower. Is that person behind that keyboard potentially half the cost of a technician? Yeah. But what's the cost of the robot? And can I make the software where it's simple enough to where I can get someone for $15 an hour to operate 3 of these mowers, or get it on autonomy, and then when it hits a glitch or a problem or a ball in the middle, I can navigate it manually around it and override the autonomy. So there's, I think, a lot of steps in the process. I think a lot of legislation around full self-driving will trickle down into robots.
For sure. So is that where you see it going? You see like self-driving vehicles pulling your mowers out there, drops the gate, mowers come out, does the mowing by itself with no one on site?
Yeah, like when we're talking 15 years down the road, I see it as we have a full self-driving vehicle. While that vehicle is in transit, there's a technician that is making sure that things like upsells, the communication to the customer, the selling to the customer is taken care of.
Yeah.
Then they hop out. They're doing the fine tuning. So the weed whacking, the blowing, the trimming the bushes, mulching. That's not happening to the robot anytime soon. And if you're like Optimus, like, well, yeah, we're told self-driving was going to be here like 30 years ago, next year. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So I think my goal is take one technician, but do the work of 2 people. That's the main goal, because then we have actual cost savings. And so if I'm mowing, if my robot can handle the mowing in the same amount of time that I do the bush trimming or the trimming, the edging, the blowing, then I have a business model. But there's still some technical things that have to be ironed out for that to happen.
What's been the hardest business to scale? You said you got media, you got Augusta, and then you have Copilot.
Yeah. So Alex just came out with a video recently that he's like just nailed it so perfectly. Like the media side, you can grow very quickly, very high margins, but then you hit this plateau and there's no enterprise value, there's no sellability, et cetera. You can't, it's all around you. Then franchise side, it is a service business. It is much more linear growth. It's a grind. It's not high margin, but it's a service that I can sell for mowing. Like everyone needs the service. I don't have to create demand. So much more linear growth. And I'm still early in the software side, which is, as he states, like absolute hell for several years until you figure out product market fit, and then it can scale and get good margins down the road. And so the hardest one to scale, like if I had to say from the past till now, I would say it's command center, because it's just so people heavy. And even with AI and all the things that we've added with software, it's still the hardest thing to scale. When you go, like this month, they're hiring 40 agents to answer the phone, like training and retention and tracking every word and all the KPIs. Like that's been the hardest part to scale and do so in a way that's like really top level. Yeah,
I would have to agree. I don't know the software part that well yet. But yeah, we talked about this. Like that's been like HQ has been one of the hardest things for me too.
Yeah.
So leaning on you for that has been helpful. As far as growing Augusta, 200 locations, going to 800 locations. Walk me through like first 100, then versus the second 100.
Yeah, the first 100 was me learning and making a lot of mistakes. Because we have where it's just a flat monthly fee and we don't have a royalty. It's very hard under 100 locations to make sense of it financially.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, well, my first location is making $300,000 in distributions. It was doing like 1.7 million in revenue at the time. And I was like, okay, so if I'm charging $1,200 per month, which was at the time when we started, per location, that means in order to be able to get $300,000 in gross revenue, I have to have 12, 14, 20 locations. So 20 locations to get to the revenue of what my one location is making in profit. And that was a tough pill to swallow because I had to build the infrastructure for 100 locations, command center, software, support, coaching, training, all this other stuff, but have the revenue of 20, 30, 40, 50. And so that's when like I was living in the closet of the studio because like every single penny counted and I was trying to put every dollar back in because like there was always the temptation to go to private equity. And there was plenty of people wanting to give me money for it.
Yeah. I asked you that question before. I'm like, how did you get away from not private equity? Yeah,
it was just scrimping and trying to make every dollar count and being open with the owners, being like, hey, if we make more money, I can do this other thing. Like we just launched this thing recently that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, but like we can do it now because we have the money. And so back then just being very honest with them, like, hey, like every dollar we make, I'm trying to make this better. But also realizing I have to make it good enough to where new owners want to join. Like, why would you join Augusta?
Right.
And so the first 100 locations were so hard. And it was hard in a different way because like when it came to software and it scaled too fast and I had a bunch of bugs and I had to reinvent the team and redo the whole company, that was different, hard and painful than being so cash constrained when we were starting the franchise and doing everything I possibly could for the owners, but also being like constant, like, I just gotta make payroll. I just gotta get through. Like, can I afford this? And so it's just every single business has its hard parts. And I think everyone, when they're looking at other industries, like, oh, it's so easy. It's software. It's like, okay, do you want to lose $1 million a month? Like, go for it. And you're like, oh, franchising is so much easier. It's like, oh, great. Do you want to live in a closet so you can avoid private equity? Like, so everyone has their version of hard.
Yeah.
And the media side, it's like, it's not like it's like just, oh, just make videos. Yeah. Okay. You go get your first 1,000 subscribers. Right. You know how hard that is? Yeah. Okay. You do it with business content, not like going out and doing, making tall grass short. Like that's hard. And so, I think it's not a matter of like, what's the hardest? It's a matter of like every business has hard. It's just a different definition or different flavor of hard.
Yeah, I would agree with all the above. Hold up, quick pause. If you're on a pest control company or fertilization weed control company, you're not in our Facebook group, you're choosing the harder path. Every operator that's in there is skipping years of mistakes because people are actually sharing what's working right now. So stop trying to brute force your way through growth alone. Search Pest Control Millionaires on Facebook or click the link below. And now let's get back to it. Let's go back to like when you got hurt that day. Because we didn't really talk about that. Walk me to that day. Mm-hmm. And then I have another question. We'll fast forward. Like, what does the day-to-day look like now?
Yeah. So that way we were doing around 700,000 to 800,000, had 3 to 4 employees. Liz was my office manager.
She's been here since day one?
Second year. So after a year of Augusta, she joined in the office. But yeah, that day I was doing a project walkthrough. So back then I didn't do estimate videos. I didn't know what I was doing for systems. So I was taking the crew to the job site, dumping 3 yards of cobbles, and then I was going to head back to the shop and do estimates the rest of the day. And so the truck that we had was like a 1990 L7000 Ford. It was old. You pull the lever, actual cable down below, engage the PTO. That cable broke. And so for about a week, I'd been going underneath the cab and engaging it manually. So I did that this time. I'd show them the job. I was going to engage the PTO. The thing dumps. That's the thing, the power takeoff. It dumps out all the material. So on the way back out though, my hoodie got caught, sucked me into the PTO. Fortunately, I was able to, my arm got caught. You can kind of still see it in the PTO, the gearbox, and kept me from just like spinning over and over. It just got really tight around my neck and then shredded. And so by the grace of God, I dropped out, couldn't breathe for a second. And then they rushed me to the hospital. They thought I broke my neck. And fortunately did not, but it took a couple weeks to kind of be on the mend, couldn't work. And in that process, I had to be like, everything I learned in my MBA, I have not implemented in my business. And so in the hospital and then in a couple of weeks of recovery, just like going through every single system of the business and be like, how do we make this where it's repeatable and it can work without me? Because I realized like I'm on the hospital bed, FaceTiming my crew for the next job that day because they didn't have estimate videos. We didn't use videos and like systems in the business. And just realizing every single choke point. And then that's when I started creating content. So like 3 weeks after the accident, once I got into the field, I hired my first, not my videographer. I hired like a 1099 contractor. Like, hey, come make videos. And I just want to talk about everything I'm changing. And it was basically the hit list of everything I wrote down in my recovery of things I need to change in the business. And that's when the content side of things kicked off. So, day to day now, a lot of it right now is content. So 2024 was 100% software. Everything was software. 2025, it was a blend of some still recruiting, some really high level people for the software side, but then also the franchise really like, hey, we got to 150, 160 at the time. It was like, what's going to get us to 1,000? So there's some huge reinventions of what needed to happen on owner success, on the sales side, as well as a command center. And so shout out to like the leadership team. They did a phenomenal job, like reinventing their departments and how we thought about their what they're working on. And then this year it's like media. So it's going to be a full out focus on Home Service Millionaire, the main channel, the turnaround show, just like doing more and better. Really.
I've seen John Tappert.
Taffer. Yeah.
So did you obviously know him with Decode Shoes? Is that where the turnaround came from?
No. So actually, I didn't even know about Bar Rescue.
Oh, really?
What I knew about is The Prophet from Marcus Lemonis on CNBC. And so they stopped that show like in 2020 or 2021. And like the next year I started the turnaround show. I'm like, I love that show so much.
Gotcha.
They stopped it because there were a lot of legal issues they were having because he was getting equity and investing and people were saying dumb stuff. I'm like, look, I'm not gonna do that. I just want to go there and hopefully we can record it and help other people. And so it was kind of an evolution. It was like the turnaround show. And then I realized, okay, this is not scalable. I can't help people one by one by one. So that's when I created the book. It basically walks through the 13 principles I use on every turnaround. But the problem with the book is they have to self-diagnose. Like, oh, I have a problem with sales. Oh, I have a problem with hiring. And most people actually can't do that. They don't know what their problem is. And like in medicine, when I was in that world, like the worst thing you can do is have people self-diagnosing. That's why like, doctors hate the internet. They're like, ugh, because like, people are self-diagnosing all the time. So that's what I found happened with the book. And that's when we started Copilot, now Homeworks, is the software will tell you what problem is, what problem you have and what to fix, how to fix it, instead of relying on self-diagnosing or me coming out and telling you what to do in your business.
Yeah, I like that. And then you went to a coach or something, like a coach bus or something recently?
Oh, we went on an RV trip. Yeah, we traveled from the East Coast to the West Coast, did like, I think 10 different turnarounds and like 8 different owners of Augusta, like stopped all along the way, made a bunch of content.
How was that?
It was great. Yeah, it was, it basically was so that we could get through the winter, but still release turnarounds. So we just did a whole bunch of them right before the fall. so that we could still release throughout the winter.
And that's what I told you, like my struggle was in the winter. Like
Yeah.
I'm in 10, 20 feet of snow.
Yeah.
It's negative 30. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know
Yeah,
about that.
batching.
For real.
Just tons of content there in fall, get us through the winter. And then actually next week, we're heading out to Florida and Texas.
Cool. And how many videos do you release a week?
Well, we've always been doing turnarounds once a week,
Uh-oh.
but we're focusing now on quality. We're going after the really good applicants that we know before we even show up, it's going to be a banger video.
Gotcha.
So maybe 1 to 2 a month. So a lot less turnarounds, more talking head in studio in terms of
Welcome.
number of videos.
Yeah.
but the turnarounds that we do, they're so expensive for us to like fly out.
Right.
And the amount of time we put into them is the same, regardless if it is a poop scoop company that we know is going to get 20,000 views, or if it's a $3 million company with tons of problems and drama and issues that we know is going to make 200,000 views.
Yeah.
And so we're really trying to focus on these ones because the same amount of effort goes into both. Like my time is there, we're flying the team out. All of that still happens no matter what size or how much complexity is in the business. The more complexity, the more storylines, the better the videos do.
Yeah. So why did you rent an RV this time instead of flying them?
Just for the drama, you know.
Gotcha.
We knew the hardcore fans only would watch the actual behind the scenes of the RV.
Yeah.
So the blend you're always trying to do is like turnarounds are very high level, like high, like top of the funnel because it's just awareness. Everyone likes them because they're fun, dramatic. There's characters in them. But the person that has followed me for years or wants to know about Augusta or the software, like really is following, they'd watch the behind the scenes. And so the behind the scenes, they get to know me a little bit more because the turnarounds is very produced and it's cut. There's not a lot of me like what I like to eat and working out and like all the fun stuff, being with my wife and things like that. So that's what the turnaround RV trip was. It's like, hey, we'll do 10 days, daily vlog style, and hopefully people can get to know the behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah. So what else do you have besides the turnaround show?
We have the turnaround show and then like mostly in person like studio stuff.
Yeah.
So the Home Service Millionaire channel goes very deep. So that's really built for anyone above $1 million. So way less. I think there's only like 16,000 subscribers, but like it's just for $1 million plus. I don't talk about anything to do with like starting out or like sales. It's like I assume you know how to sell if you're running a $5 million business.
Right.
Let's figure out general managers. Should you split locations? And really thinking about like the business model. And so lower view, but like really that's the person I'm also like, I think a lot of people like, oh, you have $1 million business, you're successful. I've been to so many $1 million businesses, $3 million, $5 million businesses where there's tons of debt. They still work 80 hours a week. They can never hand the business off. There are projects out to wazoo that they are the only person they can manage the project. They're tied to their business. They're chained to it. And so I feel like that content is much for them. The turnaround show, all my free courses and stuff, that's much more for entry level, like 0 to $1 million.
Yeah. I know we got to get rolling, but last couple questions. How's life changed since you've been married?
It's great. It's great. Yeah. Like I think it's one of those things we were talking about earlier. Like
Yeah.
I'm glad I waited. I feel like I'm more mature, but like I'm glad I waited and I could get through the grind phase. I feel like right now we're kind of like in the build phase. I kind of like it's like grind phase, build phase, thrive phase. And I'm still in the build phase. Like I'm still investing back in the business. I still work a lot, but it's not in the grind phase where I'm struggling to make payroll.
Right.
And I'm glad I wasn't married during that phase. And I've said that to her. I'm like, I love you a lot, but I'm glad you didn't come along a few years earlier because like it was still so much pain, and I would not have been able to be a good husband. Yeah. And so, yeah, learning that game and like, obviously I want to be good at in business. I also want to be a great husband. So like learning that over the past year and being relatively new to it has been exciting.
Yeah. Is she involved in the business at all?
She does all the trip coordination for the turnarounds.
Oh, cool.
And she also does all the book stuff.
Awesome.
So she is involved quite a bit. She's here and there at the office. And then we have something to talk about in common with the business, which is I like. I thought originally before meeting her, I thought very much I was going to be more of like Alex and Layla. Like I wanted them in the business, working with me 24/7. And I think that I'm very glad now that she is the way she is and we have a lot more separation. And there's pros and cons, obviously, to both. But she does a great job of trying to learn elements of business so she can talk to me about it. But then also realizing, like I talked with Dr. Cash about this, like she does not need to be that in order to be a great wife. Like she can know nothing about business and still be a great wife. And then by that kind of unlocking my brain, I'm like, oh, she doesn't need to be all these other things. Like I can listen to podcasts and books and videos and talk to people like you and scratch that itch, and she can still be a great wife.
Yeah.
And that was such a big unlock for me, is like, I don't need her to be everything to me.
Gotcha. I love that advice. Dr. Cashy, real quick. You met him through Alex?
Not through Alex. No, it is a couple years back, and I reached out to his wife, went through like this process of trying to get in, and I don't know why they said yes. Still don't know to this day. But we don't do as regular now because after the big launch, He, economically, it doesn't make sense to do coaching for him.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. There's more people beating down his door every day for coaching. He does not do coaching.
Yeah.
So it's more a matter of like, if you need help, contact me. So I try to not abuse that, because he is a well sought out person that could probably do more impact in the world by talking to other people than me. And so I use it very infrequently, but when I do, I try to respect his time.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I'll get out of your hair. But you got to get another meeting to go. I got to fly back to Michigan.
Let's go.
Again, appreciate you having me here. It's fun.
Awesome.
I learned a lot.
Let's go. Good stuff, man.
Appreciate it. Hey guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Pest Control Millionaire. We don't charge any money for the show, but the podcast isn't free. Please like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast app. This makes a huge difference for us. If you have any specific questions about your business or your personal life that you'd like answered by me or any of my podcast guests, please send an email to info@pestcontrolmillionaire.com. And if you want to get in touch with me about our marketing class, we do a live version every Thursday night. Check out our website at pestcontrolmillionaires.com. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys in the next one.